With Elizabeth Harrington, a reporter with the Washington Free Beacon, and Susan Ferricchio, chief congressional correspondent for the Washington Examiner. Before I get to a quote by somebody that said, really, this is going to be all beneficial for the Democratic Party, Susan, I just want to ask you quickly on this. I was struck by a comment by one of our viewers on social media after the Chris Christie endorsement of Donald Trump just a few minutes ago. And he said, well, Chris Christie endorsed Barack Obama with that hug before the election in 2012. Do you see any chance that Chris Christie could actually hurt Donald Trump rather than help him here?
Well, I actually think he's going to help Trump because he's more of what Trump is, which is a straight talker, kind of bombastic, somebody who does not take threats very seriously, sort of a powerful speaker. He's just a kind of straight talker. I think Trump is himself as a candidate. He sort of endorses Trump. So I don't think he's going to hurt him. I think he's sort of the right kind of endorsement for Trump. And he's, a former attorney general. He's got some legal expertise. So if Trump has any issues talking about taxes or whatnot, you'll have Christie there to help talk about those things. And he's a governor. So I don't see any downside to a governor endorsing you as a presidential nominee.
And what you're striking is the consistency of brand message, which is something that Donald Trump is really good at. We've certainly seen him stick to a brand and stay with it, not just for the presidential campaign, but really his entire career. So last night, as we know, the debate was a raucous debate. There were a lot of insults back and forth. And so here's one perception of the debate last night, and I want to get your thoughts on this, saying, quote, the runaway winner of this debate was the Democratic Party. If there are many more nights like this one, the Democratic nominee will have a much easier time in November. It was truly a pathetic mess. What do you think about that, Elizabeth? Again, we're coming out of it here. All of a sudden, the debate seems like old news. It wasn't even 24 hours ago. But is there a risk for the Republican Party here, considering what we saw last night and now what we see continue today, the insults flying back and forth? We heard that from Donald Trump and Marco Rubio just a few minutes ago.
Right. I mean, there were a lot of insults, and it definitely was kind of messy. But I think a lot of people actually were kind of happy about the debate because it was actually a debate last night. You really, for the first time, it took, 10 debates to get here. But the candidates were really going after each other and debating each other. There were moments you just kind of wanted the moderators to go away. And yes, it gets kind of messy and heated, and that might turn some people off. But there's a long time to go before it's a head-to-head between the Republicans and Democrats. I don't think people are going to be, oh, the Republicans were so mean in that debate to each other, I could just never vote for them. Come November, I don't think this debate at this time is going to matter that much.
What do you think, Susan?
Well, there's some truth to a bloody primary being damaging to the party candidate. I know Mitt Romney complained that the drawn-out primary gave him a late start and hurt him in his run against President Obama. But this is a whole new ball game. This election has really broken the mold for these kinds of expectations. And if you look at the polls now, Trump and Hillary Clinton nationally are just about tied. So I think that's kind of the old thinking, that this type of primary is going to be very damaging to the Republican Party in the general election. But Trump is a different kind of candidate. Trump or whomever it becomes the nominee, I think that this primary season isn't going to necessarily damage them as long as they're able to raise money and get out there and, strongly fight against the Democratic nominee on the other side. It's really going to boil down to those debates between the Republicans and the Democrats in the fall and all the campaigning that goes on then. I think these debates will kind of be forgotten in the rearview mirror by then.
There's so many of them. Of course, we have a major debate next week, Thursday, after Super Tuesday. And just a quick idea for Fox. I mean, we're going to need behind-the-scene cameras now of the makeup area, of who's having a meltdown during the commercials. I mean, we're going to need that. I'm going to try to place a call after our conversation. Elizabeth, Susan, great to have you both. And we'll keep on watching.